Everybody stop what you're doing, please!
When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is no better show on your radio. This is Around the House with Eric G.
Where's the hammer?
From your back fence to the sidewalk, Eric will tell you how to keep it all in tip-top shape while helping you save a buck while doing it. If you like DIY projects, it takes a lot of practice to get good at it, and Eric is here to guide the way.
Is it on the... Go up on the other floor. Somebody go up there and stop the hammering.
All that and more on the fastest 2 hours of home improvement radio.
These are the wrong plans. These are the old plans. Oh!
Welcome to
Stop it!
Around the House with Eric G.
Welcome to Around the House with Eric G. This is our Pro Insider Edition. You know, we've been talking so much about, well, building materials, expensive building materials out there right now as far as lumber. Why is that happening? Let's find out. I got one of my favorite builders on the line here because, you know, I wanted to talk about the shortages we're running into for builders, home improvement people, of all stuff out there working on our homes. Welcome, Tracy, to Around the House.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, man. Let's talk about your business for a minute because you're a great home builder here in the Northwest, and I want to give everybody kind of the background of what you do so we can set the stage for what we're going to talk about.
Sounds good. Well, I've been doing this for 43 years. So started custom home building back in about 1978, and it's been a roller coaster ride for the last 43 years, and we are lucky and grateful to be in the position we're in. We pretty much most of what we do is high-end custom. We build from around 3,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet is our footage range, and we do half a dozen to a dozen fairly large custom homes a year, and we were honored to win Best of Show, Best Architecture, Best Kitchen, Best Master Bath for our famous Timberline project that you and I met at back in 2018.
Yeah, we were broadcasting the show from your garage.
Yes, we were, and I don't know why we didn't do that around the pool out back. It must have been too sunny or something.
I wouldn't have complained.
But amazing project. We've got half a dozen spin-offs from that are in process, and we just love building timber frame, and our clients seem to really like it. So we're just blessed at this moment. Even with the current COVID nightmare, the phone still rings, and we've got a lot of great things coming in for 2020. So
that's awesome. And you've been in what I would call, you've been in what I call the royalty of building trade stuff out there as well. Because if I remember right, you were, past president of the Building Industry Association of Clark County. You've been BIAW. You've been all over the place as far as the boards out there.
Yes, I'm pretty honored to be respected by my peers for the years of experience and advocacy I've put in, and I'm honored now to be the 2020 Vice President of the Building Industry Association of Washington. I serve that position, and if all goes well, I will be the 2021 President. So
there we go.
It seems like I always end up at the helm of these things during some sort of a crisis. But I like to think sometimes I'm in the right place at the right time. It's generally at great personal cost, because normally when things are problematic in the building world, they're not that great for me personally either, because I'm immersed in building.
Exactly.
But, we try to do the right things, and our mission really is to provide affordable housing for our clients. And that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It just depends what your price range is. But the bottom line is we want to guard housing affordability, and we want, we create the American dream. We build the places that people's lives happen. So that's first and foremost to me and most of my contemporaries. We just want to build really nice product for our clients, and we want it to be affordable.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge at the moment, as you know.
It is. Feel free to give a shout out for your company out there too, man. You do so much for everybody else.
Sure.
We should send people over to your website as well, just to take a look at it.
Yeah, check us out at www.doriotconstruction.com, and we've got a fantastic website. I've got a gal that works for me that just does amazing work for us, and We're also looking for a client. We'd love to build a 2021 parade house out in Philida Overlook. So if anybody's interested in partnering with us on that, we would love to do that. The price range would probably be about 1.5, I would imagine, somewhere in that range. So, I think we can do some pretty nice stuff. And, we've got a great organization with great people, and we just love working with people that like to have fun building. And, quite frankly, I am too old to not do anything that isn't fun. So pretty much everything we do is fun. And,
exactly. And that's DORIOT construction.com for anybody out there wanting to know how to spell that. So
perfect. Thanks, buddy.
No problem. Well, I wanted to talk to you because you and I were chatting on social media earlier this week, and we were talking about the, quite frankly, epic amount of building material shortages that are across the country right now. And I know you're running into it as well.
Yes, we are. It's interesting. It manifested itself in some lumber updates we got. We have a couple of projects going into contract, and these folks are using a lender. And when you go to a bank and borrow money, you lock in at a particular price point, rate, and those sort of things. And pretty much everybody in the world, the natural thing is to kind of stretch your limits when you do these things. So most people don't have more money to bring to the table. So we almost try to make sure that in the 11th hour we update our cost analysis so that they have good numbers. And we were frankly stunned at the increase in building materials. We're up 30% on one of our houses. And when you got a $30,000 lumber package, you automatically add $10,000 to it. That's a big deal.
And that just affects everything out across everything else, because if you've got a lumber package for framing that's that way and the wood's costing that much, then the cabinetry is going to cost that much, and it's just going to keep going and going and going. And cabinetry to flooring to everything else, it gets pretty crazy.
Roof trusses are another amazing exponential increase. We had a truss job go from $9,000 to $16,000. And
wow.
it's, on smaller jobs, we don't do many smaller jobs, but we are doing one that's a little smaller for one of our favorite clients. And so these things, those kind of jumps make a big impact in price. And, I think you alluded to the fact that we're going to see that manifest itself in any wood product, even probably down to engineered floorings and things. So for those that are price conscious and on a budget, we're worried about what this bubble is going to do.
Yeah.
So and then, as you mentioned, shortages. We're having a difficult time getting things, and some of our suppliers are buying things at above market cost just to fill the orders.
Man.
So it's a perfect storm. Now we get something happening in the tornado area, or we get some big fires going that suck up more of the sheet goods, and I think you could probably see lumber, plywood, for example, at $30-$40 a sheet, and we get to that point,
that's going to stop building. That's going to stop building because it throws everything out of budget, and all it takes is a hurricane running up and down the East Coast or something like that, and we're putting another big huge log on the fire here. Because I tell you what, I know anybody out there that's walked into a home center, even if you're just a DIYer and you walk into that pressure-treated lumber aisle, you can hear crickets because those shelves look like you're setting a store up.
Yes, it looks like a Soviet supermarket in some of these places. It is just amazing. Supply chain issues obviously are impacted by a myriad of things. We have not only supply and demand, which of course generally ramps up this time of the year, especially in the Pacific Northwest, but then you have the COVID thing where you get facility shutdowns as far as mills and that sort of thing, and then it starts to ripple into transportation issues, and then the perfect storm once again is the weather, and then you throw in tariffs on those sorts of things. And to segue into the tariff discussion slightly, we've got our folks at the National Association of Home Builders working feverishly to hopefully get the administration to waive some of these tariffs from the Canadian direction, so that we can get some more of these softwoods imported into the U.S. without the trade tariffs on it.
Correct.
And,
That is
tariffs
not that's not helped us in the building world right now.
It has not. In a way, the tariffs sometimes make sense because we don't want producers diluting the American market and our producers' ability to keep their doors open. But by the same token, when they can't keep up with the demand and we start to get these exponential price increases, something has to happen.
Yep.
And once again, it speaks to affordability. We want to deliver these products at a price that our customers can afford. And I heard somebody make a remark on one of my posts that, builders just look for an excuse to raise prices. I absolutely assure you that not myself nor any one of my fellow builders look forward to raising a price by a nickel. It's just not in our DNA. We want to bring things in at any price point. I mean, you can be building a $300,000 townhouse or a $3 million house, and we all value our clients' money, and we want to offer them the best possible deal. And it's sad when we have to call them up and tell them that, on a $100,000 lumber order, they're looking at $130,000 now. So
yeah, I mean that's crazy, and it's one of those things that I would love in a perfect world, and I know this is not a perfect world we live in, to see all these small lumber mills open up and all these West Coast towns out here, and in the northern areas of the U.S. that you saw all these mills, but that's just not happening. Those places have been shut down, and those businesses are long gone.
Yep, exactly. It's a changing face of the Pacific Northwest, and I think I'm a pilot as well, and I fly around the Pacific Northwest quite a bit. And when I fly over, literally hundreds of miles of timber, and I keep thinking, man, I hope the engine doesn't quit at this point because
there's no safe place to drop into. Yep.
Yeah, so we have a lot of trees in the Pacific Northwest from, southern Oregon to the Canadian border, and I believe there is an opportunity for the lumber industry, but once again, everything is so tremendously expensive, and then you get the regulatory agencies involved, and that's one of the reasons I spend so much time with the Building Industry Association at various levels is the advocacy for that, and we just push for reasonability in regulation, and I'll be the first to admit, regulation is necessary.
Yep.
It can be the Wild West without it. And so we do need common sense rules and laws and those sorts of things. But when they start to impact the ability of, my fellow Americans to buy housing, that's when I do everything I can to help make that different. And we just want things to be reasonable.
We've had so many different levels of, and most people out there think of tariffs, that's just a single issue, but we've got tariffs across from that direction, but there's also stuff with in building like Chinese cabinetry that was being dumped into the U.S. that has got from those penalties for them dumping in products into the U.S. illegally as far as how international law goes. There's some cabinet companies out there that have a 254 or 6% tariff on them right now for dumping in cabinets that was putting out the small cabinet shops here in the U.S.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's, the Chinese, they're kind of a bonus sometimes and a curse in other times. Most of the manufacturing of appliances and things has something to do with China components or manufacturing, and we're seeing that a couple of my builder buddies that are doing multi-projects can't get appliances. They're even robbing appliances from their models to put in current homes to get them closed. So
I know there's a huge shortage of dishwashers and stuff out there now as an example.
Yeah, my folks at Ferguson told me that if I wanted a washer and dryer, good luck.
Yep.
And so it'll be interesting to see how all of that shakes out. With our relatively low volume in our projects, we're not buying 100 refrigerators at a time, so it doesn't impact us as severely as it does some of the other folks. But we try to buy American sourced as much as we can, and we have a really good relationship with Viking in Greenwood, Mississippi.
Yep.
And love the folks at Viking.
I got a Viking range sitting in my kitchen, so I got no problem with those guys.
They're a great product and great people, and so we don't suffer exactly the same problem as some other folks. But I hate to use the word perfect storm too many times, but it really is that way for a lot of different reasons.
And I think just for anybody out there starting projects and things like that, especially if you're a homeowner out there, I would not be starting any larger projects, from little remodels to if you're doing your own kitchen even, or a deck project, until you get those pieces of that project sitting on your job site. I wouldn't be starting it just yet.
Yeah, that's good advice. The other thing that I think people need to, and we're telling our clients this, is that all of these things are cyclical. And I've been doing this, like I said, for 43 years, and I've ridden every wave, savings and loan failures, pretty much every financial debacle you can imagine. And why I've survived this, I'll never know, because most of the banks I ever dealt with are gone. And $1 billion organizations have come and gone. It's interesting that a small home builder can survive, but I with the amount of time it's taking to get permits and things now, I just encouraged all of our clients to, let's get the groundwork done. Let's take care of all the paper process and get our permit stuff in the pipeline and get that going, so that when you are ready, hopefully the building prices will have, ebbed, as they always do. I think the Parade House that you and I met at, that was some of the highest priced lumber we had bought in my career. It went from in the mid 300s to over 800,000, $1,000 for some of the product, $800 $1,000.
Yeah.
And then of course it came back down. We were buying lumber again in the 300s not that long ago.
No.
So it'll bounce, and it takes now a few months to get permits in Clark County. So I am optimistic that by the time we get our next batch of things ready to rock, we'll be down again. So maybe that's just the optimist in me projecting forward, but let's hope that comes to pass.
I agree, and that'll keep housing more affordable out there by doing some of this stuff. And if we can get those prices down, that just keeps those housing costs down and what it takes to do it. And Tracy, I'd love to have you on again too, and we can talk more about kind of what goes into it. I'd love to dive into another subject one of these days called basically what makes houses expensive, because I know you and I can both talk about that one pretty well, and I think it can really help people.
I am available anytime on any subject involving housing. So you let me know. And, you're a great spokesperson for the industry. You've got a wealth of knowledge. Love hearing you speak on the subjects, because the knowledge that you bring people can take that to the bank. So anyway, thank you for what you do for our industry, and I'm glad to be a resource anytime. All
right, Tracy, thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
You're sure welcome, Eric. You keep doing.
Thanks for listening to the Around the House Pro Insider episode today. Thanks for listening. Tune in next Thursday. We're doing it all over again. Thanks for listening to Around the House.
Around the House with Eric G. is produced by, designed by Eric G. in association with Salem Media and distributed nationally by the Sun Broadcast Group. All rights reserved. Copyright 2020, designed by Eric G. We will be back next week. If you missed part of the show, check out the podcast of all of our shows at AroundTheHouseOnline.com. Remember, measure with a micrometer, mark with caulk, and cut with an axe. Thanks for listening to Around the House.